What's up, guys? Welcome to Metal Tales of Azerbaijan, the first episode. I am Zeke and I'm founder of one-man black metal project Adorn 16. Originally, I'm from Azerbaijan, but I've lived in New York for the past 10 years. For those who don't know, Azerbaijan is a former Soviet Union country that has been free and democratic and independent for the past 30 years. Azerbaijan is a Muslim country, very conservative, so metal wasn't really loved much. It wasn't persecuted by the government or anything like in some other Muslim countries, but it was still tough. So today, I'd like to tell you how I got into metal living in a country like Azerbaijan. Pop culture in Azerbaijan was different than any other place. In Soviet times, American media was forbidden. So stuff like Rambo was not seen or known to the Soviet kids of the 80s, or Nintendo, let's say. In the 90s, when Soviet Union collapsed, all the 15 countries got flooded with stuff, and I mean flooded. So, for example, to me, the original Super Mario game is associated with the 90s, not the 80s. Same goes with E.T. or Rambo or Terminator, all that stuff we got in the 90s. Same thing happened music-wise. Even though some people have heard of like Pink Floyd or Kiss, let's say, it was nearly impossible to get a record of those bands. Now, in the 90s, we got it all. Me, being a kid in the 90s, I wasn't listening to that stuff yet. I was listening to Eurodance and all that Aqua and Eiffel 65, and I also was breakdancing as a kid, so I was also listening to Flying Steps. But there was this one album that definitely introduced me to something a little different. It was The Fat of the Land by The Prodigy. I was only 8 when I got that cassette, and I would listen to it every day, non-stop, on my little player. And my mom would be like, what the hell is this? This is not music, blah, 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 all that jazz. Little did she know that her son will grow up to be a full-blown metalhead who would listen to black metal and stuff that's not even compared to The Prodigy in its heaviness, I guess. New word? Heaviness? Can we say heaviness? I don't know. I don't speak English that well, so here you go. Anyways, The Prodigy was basically my first experience with something you would consider unorthodox music, especially in Azerbaijan, especially at the age of 8. And, you know, liking and actually understanding that kind of music made me feel good, frankly special. For the next 6 years, I was basically listening to the 80s music. I was listening to some Michael Jackson, some pop stuff, some Russian rock. That was really good. I liked music, but I can't say it was my hobby or anything. I wasn't into it. I think I was about 14 when I saw Rammstein's Sonne song on the TV. That song pretty much changed everything for me and changed my life completely. I would pray to Lord that this music video plays on the TV. Would I have been a metalhead if I haven't heard that song then? I don't know. I really don't know. That's like a good question for me. I have no idea. I didn't get my first computer till I was like 19. Googling stuff wasn't a thing yet. Internet cafes were popular, but mostly for gaming and watching porn. Yeah, watching porn. So all I knew about Rammstein is that these guys sing in German, so I would assume they're German, and it's some weird music I've never heard before. So in the whole country we had about 10 channels, like TV channels. So everyone saw the same stuff. Pretty much everyone has seen Rammstein's Sonne music video. Only me and a few of my friends actually liked it. Not just liked it, we were obsessed. And the unfortunate thing is that no one else liked it. We didn't know anything about metalheads or metalhead culture. I had no idea that long hair or leather jacket is considered to be a metalhead look. How would I know? I had no idea. And the curiosity killed the cat. Is that a thing? Is that what people say? Something killed the cat? Curiosity? Well, curiosity didn't kill the cat, but I was very curious. That's the point. Some time has passed and one of my friends actually did have a computer at home. So And he would find out some new information sometimes. He would read on some forums. I had no idea what that was, but he would read some things on forums, or at some point I remember he was able to get a download link for another music video from Rammstein. It was a Firefly song, and I liked that song too, and that was cool. I would visit that friend quite often to get some more information about Rammstein, or read some things and see what else you can find in this thing called internet. Now slowly this kind of music was getting more and more popular. Bands like Linkin Park, Papa Roach, Green Day would appear on some kids' t-shirts, and girls would have darker makeup. They interested me because I started feeling that I'm part of a group where my music taste is finally accepted. Now some time has passed, and I found out that my friend's brother is into metal. He gave me this disc. It was just like a blank disc. He's like, it's a good band, you should check them out. It was called Slipknot. Honestly, it was a little too much for me. I wasn't fully ready for that. It was a little too heavy. I couldn't believe someone can scream like that. Another thing, I was shocked that the guy is the same singer for doing clean vocals and screaming. That the image was so appealing of Slipknot. So I uploaded some of their songs on my phone. Can we talk about this real quick? Do I have time? Okay, real quick. My phone back then was Sony Ericsson K700i. It had 42 megabytes memory, not gigabytes, megabytes, okay? With 42 megabytes, I could fit about 10 songs. That was enough for me. So what I decided to do is I would go to my friend who had a computer. I would pick the songs I want on my phone. I would convert them from 320 kilobit per second to 128 kilobit per second. Basically compress the quality. The quality wasn't great, but it was good enough for me. And now instead of 10 songs, I could fit about 14 songs on it, which is a huge difference when you have to listen to those songs for the next 3 months. Now, how do I get those songs on my phone? Good question. Phones back in those days had something new phones don't really need, really. It was IR port, or infrared port. So it's a little thing on the phone, and if your phone had that, I can transfer a song from my phone to your phone by putting them very close to each other with their IR ports looking right at each other. It was like phones having sex almost. Now, my friend had an external IR port that he connects to the computer. It was a lot slower, but whatever. So I would literally leave my phone right next to that IR port, and if there's slight disconnect, if I move the table by mistake, you have to start over. So I would pick my 14 songs very carefully. Usually it takes a whole day, so I couldn't do that all the time. 14 songs for a few months. Yes, I wish I had Spotify in 2005. Okay, so I put Slipknot songs on my phone, and after some time I like them. Basically, I get into them, they become one of my favorite bands. I'm obsessed, I love them. Amazing songs, heavy, crazy. What's next? Metal basically becomes a rabbit hole. You keep wanting something heavier and heavier. That strange attraction to this darkness that metal offers. There's something that nobody understands, but a relatively small group of people is very appealing. So I was 15 years old, and I decided to go to this CD store where I was like, okay, I want to try to get something heavier. I want to make that next step. Talk to the guy by the counter. He gives me this box, a compilation box, 2 CDs, 2 albums. It's, I don't remember which album of Cryptopsy and Scars of the Crucifix by D-Side. I go home, I put these CDs into my PlayStation 1, sound coming out of my old tube TV. Yes, that's how I was listening to my music. Had no other option, had nothing better. And I'm like, there's no way I can listen to this. This is craziness. I put the songs on my phone. I listened to it for like 3 weeks, and I had to go back to my friend. I was like, give me Slipknot and Papa Roach back. Now, when I would see other people liking this music, curiosity would actually be killing me. I was too curious. What can people like in this music? So a few months later, I decided to give it another chance. So I get home, I put Scars of the Crucifix again, and this time I listened to it, but simultaneously I would read the lyrics of the songs. And that has become the key for me in understanding extreme metal. I put Scars of the Crucifix and I couldn't believe what was happening. Somehow, I was recognizing every riff, every verse, every chorus, the lyrics. I guess all those days that I listened to it back in the days, it didn't just go away. It kind of stayed in my subconscious or something. I really don't know what happened, but when I was listening and reading the lyrics, I suddenly understood the music and I was liking it, like a lot. It felt like D-side was like, all right, you've dug enough, Zeke. Here's the key to this crazy world to you. And that's it. From then on, it was getting more and more interesting every day. I got really into Soulfly, Creator. I did like Cradle of Filth. My black metal wise, I really like Burzum, and of course I've heard of Euronymous and the church burnings, and that stuff was just very appealing to a 15-year-old metalhead like me. Also, I got into In Extremo, and folk quickly became one of my favorite genres. I was pretty obsessed with In Extremo back in the days. Overall, the stores would have very little metal. Same albums would stay there for months and months. But there was this one store where was this guy working who one time told me, hey, I know a guy who knows a guy who lives in Moscow. Any album you want, I can order for you. I was like, what? You can do that? I have a list of bands that I want to hear. I only heard of them. I never heard their music. It's like mythology. You hear about all these gods, but you never get to see them. And finally, there is the source. Expensive, but they can get you real stuff. Most of the stuff we were buying was pirated, but they would cost $2. Now, the stuff that this guy said would cost me $10 to purchase. So it's expensive, very steep, but I had some money saved. So I came to this guy prepared. I wrote a list of bands I want to hear. The band that I wanted to hear the most, that everybody was talking about, but no one heard of them, was Behemoth. There's something in the name, is it? I don't know. I really wanted to hear them, and people would say it's the heaviest thing you would ever hear. And I don't believe they've heard them. Where? A couple months later, this guy comes back, he gives me a call, he says, I got you CDs. Wow, what a moment that was. He got me Behemoth's Demigod. He got me a Falkenbach album. It was called Heralding, Iron Blade, I think. He got me In Flames, Reroute to Remain album. He got me Gorgoroth, Twilight of the Idols. And he also got me Morgenstern. It's not a popular band, it's very folky, In Extremo wannabes. And unfortunately they disbanded years ago. But the album was called Fuego from 2004. I was ecstatic. All the albums had these booklets and they even smelled differently. Like, I think when I heard Behemoth for the first time, everything people were talking about them appeared to be truth. His vocals would just get under my skin. The drums would stay with me for the rest of the day. The song Demigod, really? How is that even possible? Like, to me, it was insane. It was phenomenal. It was the best music ever. At this point, I was a metalhead. It was part of my identity. I would listen to metal every day. I would wear metal t-shirts. But unfortunately, I lost a lot of friendship because of that. I've gotten a lot of unnecessary conflicts because of that. People get in a fight with you just because of difference in music taste. People in Azerbaijan were very against this whole thing and looked down on metalheads and the whole culture. In Scars of the Crucifix, songs like Fuck Your God would get me in trouble. Mob law and even lynching are a real thing. So if you want to stay alive, sometimes you got to keep your mouth shut. And it's very mangling to your nature, to your inner self. In the times when you grow and you want to protest, you want to do something different, it's very difficult when the society you live in suppresses you. Despite that, though I was careful, I kept to my true self and I kept listening and discovering more music. I was obsessed. A couple of years later, I started playing guitar, and then I finished high school, I started working, and I created my own band. And it happened that we've become this underground movement of extreme music in Azerbaijan. But that is a story for next time. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this first episode. I can't wait for the next one. Bye.